this is Cal, and welcome back to 30 Taught Me. This is episode 7. Can you believe how fast the time is flying by? I can't believe I'm already on episode 7. Today's episode, I am hoping that I make it through this episode without shedding one tear. You know, most of you who know me know I'm not really a crier, but when something gets to me, like, I'll shed just one. One tear for me is like a boo-hoo for somebody else. But anyway, today it's gonna get real today. One of my friends is a singer and a songwriter, Jill Grandison. She has a song called "When It Gets Real," so it's about to get real today. So just hold on to your seats here. The lesson that I learned, primarily in my mid-20s, was I call it "Let God Be Your Safety Net." And in this particular instance, or in this particular lesson, a lot of my life was just filled with fear because of a lot of things that had happened to me in my past, a lot of mistrust I had, and just a lot of disappointment. And I think that I spent a large portion of my life kind of just worried, and not only worried, but just expecting the worst out of people because I had been let down so many times. And when you've been let down or mistreated so many times, you begin to build this wall up because you don't want it to happen to you again. And so primarily my wall was up towards men, towards males of the someone of the opposite sex, because males were the one who continued to either mistreat me or to let me down. And once I got to like the end of my early 20s and my mid 20s, I decided that, like the way that I was thinking and the way that I was guarding myself, it just wasn't healthy for me. And so I took some steps so that I could improve my mindset and just kind of get my thought life back together. And so during this time in my life and during this particular journey, something that one of my cousins used to say to me a lot was, "Kelly, you gotta let God be your safety net. You gotta let God be your safety net." And I didn't necessarily understand when she first started saying it what she meant, but over time I began to understand what she was trying to tell me. And basically she was just saying that the ways that I had kind of protected myself and guarded myself were unnecessary, because we can see in scripture that God is already for us. Not only is he for us, but he is, surrounding us. It talks continually in the Bible about how he's surrounding us, how he's a shield for us, how he's a protector for us. And that, no matter what happens to us, God still has us. And it took me a while to get that revelation. No matter what worst case scenario I can come up with in my mind, or could come up with in my mind, I began to realize that God is bigger than any worst case scenario, and his protection spans anything that I can come up with in my own mind, and even anything that can happen for real. Like, God is still enough to keep me, to restore me, to protect me, no matter what happens, no matter what the situation is. But I'll never forget, once I finally did understand it, I'll never forget, I can remember the instant that it just broke. I was at the mall, and I saw some individuals coming toward me, and in the past, in my mind, I would have just been expecting the worst, even though, like, we're at the mall. What are you here for? You're here to shop. But in my mind, I would just contrive, like, this is what's going to happen to me. The worst thing is going to, just contrive uncanny situations that were just totally not possible. And I remember I saw this group of guys coming, and I just looked at them, and I thought to myself, they can't hurt me anymore. And because I was becoming more aware of my thinking, I stopped in that moment. Well, I didn't stop physically, but I thought about what I was thinking, and I thought to myself, had I been thinking that people were actually out to hurt me, that strangers were actually out to hurt me. And it totally just shifted my mindset, and I just began to realize that, and I started to just kind of confess that to myself and write that down quite often. They can't hurt me anymore. They can't hurt me anymore. They can't hurt me anymore. People could not hurt me physically anymore, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. I had gotten to a point in my life where I was not going to allow those things to happen, and not because I was putting up a guard, but because I was choosing to allow God to be my safety net. And from that day, I can't even explain the amount of freedom that I had personally in my own life. To When you've been bound in something, and when something has held you for so long, to finally experience true freedom. There's a song by Trent Corey, and he says, "There's nothing like being free." And if you've ever been bound in something, you really know what it feels to be free. And especially if you've been bound in something for years and didn't even realize that you were bound. Like, once you get set free, there's nothing like being free. And so I just thank God for being able to know him as my safety net, and just being able to know that he is for me. And it doesn't matter what else can happen to me. It doesn't matter what other people have for me, because ultimately it's God's plans that prevail. I know that he is the ultimate protector, and he can do a far much more better job of protecting me than I can in trying to contrive my own security measures. So that's my lesson that I learned, that God is my safety net. All I have to do is let go of my own guard and my own protection, and just freely receive what he has for me. So that is my lesson, and I hope that it blessed you. Stay tuned for our next episode in 2 weeks, episode 8. Thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Hey, I made it through without shedding a tear. I got choked up maybe a few times, few times, 1, 2, 3, I don't know. Got choked up, but I made it through. Oh, I gotta give him I made it praise.